right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fold Godcast, and just wanted to take a minute to thank you guys for liking us and subscribing to the channel. Man, this is my first interview. Uh, well, a good friend of mine, Josh Davis, he is a veteran, family man, good guy, and we just wanted to take a few minutes and talk. Man, I give y'all a few minutes to jump on here. We have a wolf in the we have a wolf in view. The dire wolf, ladies and gentlemen, dire wolf. Check him out. Dire wolf, service dog. This is Josh's dog. He's in the video. Um, we wanted to talk about surviving in the wilderness, and most of you guys know the scripture when the children of Israel came out of Egypt. Uh, they went through the wilderness. It's supposed to be like an 11-day journey. Turns into a 40-day journey, and the Bible says that God sustained them, and their clothes never wore out. You know, so we're just living in the day we live in today. Looking at the war in Ukraine, I mean, all the things going on around the world today. People migrating because of war, um, deportations, which that's another podcast. But people's lives are changing, man, dramatically. And again, like the children of Israel, they came out of Egypt, man. They wandered in the wilderness. Who's to say that we won't or couldn't get to a point in America where we may have to migrate? Maybe not everybody, but you might have to migrate, man, and move somewhere else and be in a inconvenient circumstance at some point in your life. So it could be a very real reality. So, Josh, this is my first interview, by the way. Thank you, Josh, for taking the time out.
Appreciate you
Uh,
having me.
Josh and Maverick, say hey. Dire Wolf, everybody. Now, service dog here, German Shepherd, beautiful, beautiful. But we just wanted to take a few moments. I wanted to ask Josh.
Always something.
Still live, ladies and gentlemen. Still live. So Josh, you served in Iraq.
I did.
How many tours did you do in the military service?
I did two.
You did two. Iraq and
Just Iraq both times.
both times Iraq. I just wanted to ask you this real quick for everybody watching, man. This is my first interview, so um, as far as like living in the wilderness and survival, this is my main question. Do you think the average American could survive in the wilderness? The average American, not you. I mean, I know you've been trained, but do you think the average American could actually survive? I mean, in the wilderness, just the average guy, like Joe Blow.
Yeah, I do. I think that it's programmed into our genetics. I think that we just got so accustomed to, you know what I mean, the way of life, how we want things to be,
Yeah.
that we kind of lose that um, primal instinct. Survival is in our genes.
Yeah,
That's
it's true.
what it is.
It's true. I mean, and see, then too, we live in the South, so a lot of people here I mean, where we live, people hunt, they fish. I mean, they know how to survive, especially in the more rural areas. You know what I'm saying? But like, people that live in these population centers may be a different story. If something were to happen,
Right.
it may be it may be a little bit different. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I'm here to tell you, when that belly starts growling, you'll
Yeah,
you'll
you'll
figure it
figure it
out.
out.
You'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah,
You'll make a homemade trap. You'll find some way to
yeah,
get
yeah. Because I mean,
for sure.
see, with all the stuff going on in the world today, um, it's something to consider, man. I mean, they're talking about Trump with the tariff war with China and other countries. Actually, they're signing. They're signing. Basically, they're making arrangements to buy more from China since China's been kind of cut off, or the price of the tariffs have went up. It's like a tariff war between us and China. But we know that China, they manufacture about 80% of our electronics, or at least the chips. Some of the chips that go in cars, a lot of them come from Taiwan, which is like the chip capital of the world. But China, man, they pump out a lot of like electronics. Samsung, all those TVs and stuff like that. Um, it's a very real thought, though. Something to consider, man. Because we don't know what a day might bring. All right, interruptions. That's what happens when you go live, ladies and gentlemen. But another question I have: how old were you when you went into a military service? Young man, I know.
I think I just turned 21.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this: what skills did you learn in the military that would probably help you to help you to better survive in a situation? I mean, God forbid, like some type of fallout from something. You learn.
I'll be honest with you, the best skill I picked up was confidence.
Yeah,
That and you really don't think it's confidence being a skill, but
yeah,
I mean it really is because there's so many things that your body can do that you don't know because in your average everyday life you're not put to those tests. So the military will put you in those tests
yeah,
and and show you where your limits really are. And once you see that, then it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's no big deal.
yeah. Interesting, man. And then for me, I'm not ex-military. I'm not a veteran, but I respect I respect the military. I respect their practices. I have family members that are veterans, several family members that are veterans, man. So I have like the highest regard and respect for veterans, man, for military personnel. And another thing too, do you think that your experience, what you've learned in the military, do you think it has an effect on your kids in everyday life? Maybe they don't realize this
My experiences in the military have a direct reflect on every person
in your
in
in
my
your, in
life.
your life. Yeah,
In
even
my life,
even
whether
me,
it's
y'all, me too.
right, even complete strangers, anybody that you know what I mean, because it changes the person. And so, I mean, I've had to relearn how to um, interact. I guess would be the way to say it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, 'Cause, there's some things you can't come back from.
yeah, yeah. See, let me ask you this too, man, real quick, because like you hear people. It was a time that you heard people talk about PTSD, right? And it was only related to military stuff. Now you hear it. I mean, more. You hear more of that stuff like in everyday life. People suffering from. This generation is different to me. We grew up in a different culture. We grew up and we had to like get it out the mud, if you want to say. Some things we had to go through, man. That like this was so many conveniences with these young people now, this younger generation, man. Like, what do you think as far as the younger generation?
Are you sure this is a question you want to
Yeah,
ask me?
because I know you're a straight shooter, right? So I mean, like for the young generation, for this younger generation, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think that their odds of survival are? I mean, like, God forbid, man, in the event of like a fallout or some false flag, like, what do you think? Because when I think about technology, the first thing I think about is the internet. What happens when you don't have the internet? What happens? For some people, that could cause PTSD for some people, just not having internet service. And so many conveniences, in the time we live in. Mainly for people our age, we had life before the
We
smartphone.
got told no.
Yeah, you had the phone with the cord on it. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't have internet. We didn't have all the conveniences we got now. But what do you think? Like, let's say anywhere from, I say right now, I'm saying generation anywhere. Let's say 25 and under. What do you think that their odds are of surviving in the event of like some type of fallout? I mean, because you hear us talk about this stuff, man. You think it can't happen in America, man, but I say it can. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
I really think that overall, I think they stand a pretty good chance of surviving. Now we have like a kind of an old school mentality about things, but you got to look at the world that they're coming up in. They're not coming up in the world that we came up in, and they're having to find their own ways to survive in this new world. So the innovation is there. They'll figure it out. But if the power grid was to go out, for example, I think that the first 30 days of that's going to be, you know what I mean, would be a nightmare,
Yeah, yeah,
and it would take a minute for things to kind of wrinkle out.
yeah. Let me ask you this too, man, because this is something I was thinking about just now. I know you have a lot of veterans, like ex-service member friends. Y'all still like y'all formed a bond. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Overseas, you went through. Some came back, and I imagine some didn't. You know what I'm saying? As far as the sense of community, do you think that it's still important to have that sense of community right now here in America in the day we live in, or do you think we live in like a me first type culture. You know what I'm saying? It's my four, no more. Do you think that it's important to have a sense of community now? Like we're bud, like I know, we've been friends what 10 years
Yeah,
now. And you
yeah.
shirt off your back kind of guy, but
There's got to be, like,
yeah,
there's got to be that. But I mean, we're we're supposed to be servants.
yeah,
We're supposed to put other people before ourselves.
yeah.
You
True,
know,
man.
and there's been so many times that I've given everything I had to a person, turn around, stab me in the back, and I would turn right around and do it right again
Yeah,
because
I've done
even
that
though
too,
they
man.
stabbed me in the back, God never let it affect me or mine.
Yeah,
I bounced right back, and every time I've been put in a better situation after I've been done wrong than I was beforehand. And I'm a very firm believer that's because I was doing what I was supposed to do. And, you know, what's it saying? God before you, who be against you?
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, if
True,
you're doing what you're supposed to do,
true, man.
you know what I mean?
I can I'm a witness to that too, man. And like I say, you've been a good friend of mine for like 10 years now. Solid dude, y'all, man. We're gonna do another interview, but like the Lord impressed upon my heart to just do an interview here right now, with this backdrop. Like I say, survive in the wilderness, man. Another question I have for you is about the military now. Do you think that this could be controversial? Do you think President Trump's military is stronger than President Biden's military, or let's say past president? You think Trump's military is would be more suitable for war than or you say that it doesn't make a difference?
I don't think it makes a difference because at the end of the day, this might be controversial.
Yeah, it is. That's why.
In my opinion, at the end of the day, NCOs lead the way.
Yeah,
The officers, the all the way from your lieutenant, your buddy, you know what I mean,
yeah,
all the way up.
yeah,
They're the ones that make the plan. It's the NCOs to figure out what to do when their plan doesn't work. We carry the
yeah,
job home, so
yeah,
I don't think it makes I don't think it makes any difference because at the end of the day, it's the people on the ground that are making that last minute decision. Do we go? Do we not go? You know, we have orders to follow, but
yeah,
there's a lot of situations where this isn't in the book. Well, you know what I mean? What are you
yeah,
supposed to do? There's still judgment calls to be made.
yeah. Yeah. And let me ask you another question too, man, while we're on the road here, because again, hit the thumbs up, man, if y'all enjoy the content. This was spontaneous, y'all. I don't like scripting stuff. I don't like drawing outlines out. I don't like doing a bunch of editing. I want you guys to get raw video. This is the Fold Godcast here with one of my best friends in the world, Josh Davis. He's a veteran, good guy, family man. He loves the Lord. We got a dire wolf here, very calm, service dog. Maverick, he's here with us too. Say hey, Maverick. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question too. Okay, like in the event of just say like a fallout or something, God forbid, it's crazy that we got to have these conversations, but it's the day we live in. The Bible talks about the last days being filled with wars and rumors of wars. Jesus said that, right? What if you had to take three things from your house in the event of a fallout or some emergency, other than your family? What three things would be the most important things to take? Top three things that you would leave home with, and you leave the rest. What are like the top three things you take? And I can guess one because I can guess one. I mean to survive. I'm saying like in the event of something like what would you three things you take? Three things you take to survive. Top three. I mean I know it's more, but just let's just say three. Three things you take
Not including my family.
other than your family. That's a given. Let's say three items or whatever it is. Any three things you
I'm
would
leaving
take.
my house with a gun.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. Yeah,
I mean, I would leave the house with the same thing I leave the house with every day: a gun, a pocket knife, and my dog.
yeah,
That's, I mean,
yeah, yeah. And the reason I ask you that is because again, we live in a culture where I think our priorities get mixed up because of the convenience. Like I'm on the internet now, World Wide Web. You know what I'm saying? And I think the convenience of the internet and the Internet of Things has made life so easy. I don't think the average person is programmed to think about what they would. You know what I'm saying? The phone probably be the first thing they grab. That wouldn't do you any good
I mean,
unless.
if I was to do something, the power would be the first thing I'd go after because we'd go crazy.
Yeah.
But technology,
Shop
in my opinion, is kind of like water. Water in moderation is good for you. You have to, it's a
Yeah.
staple of life. But you drink too much water, it'll kill you. So if you're living your life by technology, it's going to kill you.
It's true, man.
One, you know what I mean? One way or another, it's going to get you. But like we come from a generation, like, we didn't have Google.
Nah. Nah.
Man, Google makes me feel like a superhuman.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do anything. You know, I don't
Yeah.
need instructions from nobody. What are
Yeah.
you going to do? I'm going to Google it real quick.
Yeah. We're
Give
gonna
me
Google
5 minutes, I will fix whatever it is.
Yeah.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
But we know what it's like to not have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I use GPS everywhere I go in
Yeah.
a truck.
Yeah.
But I know how to read a map.
Yeah. That's the skill, by the way. Nowadays, that's the skill.
But I had to teach my wife how to read a map.
Same here. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have to teach my kids how to read a map. And that we were taught that in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm a very firm believer that man, you got to stick to the principles. If you get the basics down and you know how to, you're reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know what I mean? If you got your core
Yeah.
down, then the rest of it doesn't matter as much because you understand what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Cool. Let me ask you this too, man, because I can sit there all day with him. Um,
I got time.
Let me ask you this, man. Who has in your opinion, from what you know, based on your knowledge, what country would you say has the strongest military right now? In your opinion, I mean, technology-wise, boots on the ground. I mean, like, what would be militarily? What would you consider to be like the strongest military? What nation has the strongest military? Should I
Man,
say, in your opinion?
I'm going with the United States.
Now, but
And
why? Why do you say that though? Because
because everybody that I know in the military come either from back in the deep woods, from the middle of the hood,
yeah,
from out in the swamps of the bayou. They're coming from all out here. It ain't, you know what I mean? They're the realest people.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
most of the people join the military because they don't have any other options.
right.
They're trying
I
to
didn't
come
thought
up
about
out of
that.
the mud. You know what I mean? The military is their come up.
Yeah,
So when they come in, you know what I mean? It's like, are you going to gangbang? Or are you going to do this? Are you going to,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Grow up splitting wood for your daddy, or you going to
wow,
do
wow,
this, or you know what I mean?
yeah,
What do you,
yeah,
that's their come up.
yeah. Now, what advice would you have for like young people now in the military, whatever branch it is? You know, what advice would you have for them, like as far as when they get out of the military? If they want to be a career, um, if they want to have a career in the military, what advice would you have for them when they come out? I mean, like, because I see you had your own experiences when you came out. You had to readjust to like civilian life, making it
Bro, man,
transition from.
and well, in my situation and the people that were in during the years that I was, it was really bad because when we left to go overseas, America was running one way. But while we were gone is when that recession hit. Man, when I come back home, there was closed signs on
Yeah,
everything in town. Like, there was no, it took me, I think it was 10 and a half months to find a job
really,
when I got home.
I
And
didn't know that.
the only job I could get, I had to travel. I spent 330 days a year on the road
I didn't know that.
because that was the only thing I could find.
Yeah, I mean, for
And
a veteran though, it's kind of to me, it's a disgrace. That's I always tell you this that I think veterans should be treated better. I'm not saying they treat all of you guys wrong, but I think when if you go overseas, man, you serve the country. I'm not saying you're gonna be rich. I'm not saying you're gonna like but
man, I'm just speaking for myself. You could give me all the money.
Yeah,
You could give me a free pass to life from now on. It's not gonna make my life any better.
yeah. Wow,
It's
that's deep, man.
it's not gonna make it, you know what I mean. It's not
Yeah,
gonna make my dreams
yeah,
more peaceful. It's not gonna,
yeah. That's deep.
you know what I mean. It's not gonna. It ain't gonna help me where I need it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean.
yeah,
So it's not. There's only so much you can do.
yeah,
You know what I mean. But I know me. Like I wear my scars proud. You know, I knew going in that I went to serve my country, and I knew what that could possibly entail.
yeah,
And I knew what I was signing up. You know what I mean? I did that. That's a burden I bear because I did what I needed to do to, you know what I mean, protect my
yeah,
country. And I'm proud of it. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's completely changed my life.
Yeah. Man, I'd imagine you've seen things that most people they'll probably never see, man, in this life, and you got
I
some experiences, man, that your experiences can help you to help other people that maybe they hadn't gone through it. They'll never go through what you've been through, but still, like you've helped me in some ways. You know what I'm saying? Man to man, you know what I'm saying? We have conversations, man, and it's good to have a friend like Josh, man. Like I said, you guys, I was gonna wait and do an interview when it was a little more convenient, but like the Lord just dropped in my spirit, man, and we just got to talking, so let's
I'll be
do it right
back. I'm
here.
not
Yeah,
going nowhere.
yeah, but this is like I say, man, it's been a. I got one more question to ask you about your relationship with the Lord. Um, did does your relationship with the Lord? How should I put this? Did you have a relationship with the Lord before you went into the military? Or did it bring you? Did that experience draw you closer to the? Because I've heard guys they come back and they're like a different dude, and
All right, so I don't
you know
know.
what I'm saying?
I think this is going to be on the same topic. So yeah, I knew the Lord before I left.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it most definitely um brought me closer to Him. But the funny thing is it's not the situations that I went through
yeah,
that brought me there. It was actually the dirt I was standing on, bro. It was
right.
unbelievable the energy that was coming out of that ground. Like
Middle East. Yeah,
unbelievable. I mean, because
yeah,
I mean, you're right there. I mean, the Tower of Babel, Garden of Eden, everything's all laid out right there. You know, that's the land we were
wow,
in, and the you can feel it.
yeah, yeah,
There's just an energy that I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I can feel it,
yeah. Wow.
and that's that said a lot to me in here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to man, it's one thing to know.
Right. Yeah. And you saying yeah, when you can
Yeah,
feel it. And see too, man, most of us, like say some of us will never probably travel. You probably never see like Afghanistan or Iran, Iraq. Some of us will probably never see that stuff. I know for me, I'd like to go and visit the Middle East at some point. You know what I'm saying? But I, you know, I don't,
I don't know, man.
maybe Israel. You know what I'm
I
saying? I
don't
don't know
know.
about now. You know what I'm saying? But I like to visit at some point. You know, to see Israel, to see like the places where like Garden of Gethsemane, stuff like that. I would like to see all that stuff, man. But like you said,
Yeah,
when you're actually there, feet on the ground is different. You know what I'm saying? You have
yeah,
to experience it, I guess. I hadn't been. Like I say, you guys, I like to do it though. I like to go under certain circumstances. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So this is the last question I have though. I actually about your relationship with the Lord, and this is probably one of the most important questions. Other than that, like where do you see yourself? I say people have like a 5-year plan and all this stuff. Like, where do you see yourself in the next? I say 2, 3 years from now, with the way things are going. Like, where do you see yourself spiritually? I mean, like, I know you. Everybody has a calling. I'm not saying you're gonna be a preacher. You're gonna, you know, I've seen the Lord use you. just every day, just truck stop talking to somebody. Just sometimes just being polite, and people see that they see the hat and they see it, they respect that. I respect that when I see that stuff. Um, and I know, like I said, I know you love the Lord, man. Like, where do you see yourself in the next few years as far as what you believe, like God may be calling you to do? I know this podcast is great. You know what I'm saying? But
Man, I tell you, I've tried to make plans in my life. I think things are going one way.
yeah,
I fly by the seat of my pants now. I
yeah,
know I know when God speaks to me, I do what I'm told.
yeah,
And that's as much thought as I put into it.
yeah.
When I hear
It's good.
jump, I don't even ask how high. I just start jumping.
Yeah,
And man,
yeah,
there's so many times that I've been asked to jump, and the only thing I can see is a bottomless pit that I'm jumping into. And it took a lot of it took some time to get that trust up where I would just jump.
yeah.
But every time I jump, I
That
never
was good.
fall.
Let me ask you this though: did your military experience help you with obeying the Lord? Because Jesus told this one guy, the centurion, the guy that had the centurion soldiers, and he said, "I say to one guy, go here, and he goes there." He was talking about authority, and Jesus heard this guy, the centurion, had these soldiers under him, and said, "Lord, if you just speak the word, basically he could get what he wanted from God by Jesus just speaking the word." And Jesus, he marveled at the guy's faith. So, like, did the military help you in your obedience in your relationship with God? Do you understand order? Did it? You know what I'm
No,
saying? Did it help you at all with
no.
as far as obeying the Lord? I mean, some people it may, some people it may not.
In my situation, no.
Yeah,
And in my situation, like the military's pretty cut and dry. Not really a whole
yeah,
lot of thinking involved in it.
yeah,
But your home life, that that's where you can't see it coming. You don't expect your
yeah,
mama to do you wrong. You don't
yeah,
expect your daddy to do you wrong.
yeah.
You don't expect,
Man, listen,
you don't expect things
yeah,
coming from you
people,
sideways at the house, and that's what'll throw a person off track.
yeah,
That's what will make you feel alone. That's what drove me to God because man, I spent a lot of time in my life. That was the only person I had to talk to.
yeah,
That's the only person that would give me the time of day is to sit there with the good Lord. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we come up
yeah. Kind of like
together thing, you know?
it's like a type of wilderness too in your life. And like I've been in those seasons, and they come and go, man. And I don't I thank God for them. Like on the backside of it, you can thank God for those like wilderness situations when it's just you and the Lord. God met Moses on the backside of the desert, told Moses, spoke from the burning bush. Moses turned aside because he saw the bush burning, which wasn't a big deal to be in the wilderness to see a bush burning because it got so hot. You've been out there; it gets hot out there. It ain't just kind of heat. It ain't Dade County.
Hot,
It's hotter than that. You know what I'm saying? So
hot.
Moses sees the bush burning. That wasn't a big deal because bushes caught on fire all the time, but this bush wasn't consumed. So Moses turned aside to see the bush, and God spoke to him in the wilderness. I mean, and sometimes with us, man, you have to get us in those. And I've been there, and you've been there. To where it's just like you and the nobody. Even when you got people around you, sometimes nobody understands, man, or you can't talk to anybody about it. You don't have anybody to talk to on purpose. And I've been in those situations. You've been in those situations, man. And
That's the only situations I've ever been in. Every time, every situation I've ever been in my life that I've been like, man, what am I supposed to do here? I ask everybody, man, I ain't never been in that situation before. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
And it's like, well, and I got to the point now where I don't ask nobody
yeah,
because I
yeah,
know you just fixing to tell me I don't know.
yeah,
And the reason why is because I'm asking the wrong one.
yeah.
I need to be asking God.
Asking
That's who
God.
I'm supposed to be asking.
Yeah,
So now I just, you know what I mean? I'm hard headed, so it took me like 20 years to figure that out. But,
me too.
I
Yeah,
finally got there, and now I asked the one who knows, and we just ride with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Amen. So, hope you guys got encouraged, man. I mean, if you're going through like a wilderness in your life, man, just hang in there, man. You got to go through it, and it doesn't feel good, but I mean, on the backside of it, man, it's like when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, and Moses wrote a psalm of praise to the Lord. It was eloquent and beautiful, man. But Moses wrote this long like psalm of praise to the Lord, after they came out, which he didn't come out. He didn't make it out of the wilderness. Joshua led the children of Israel out of the wilderness. And Joshua is the type of Jesus Christ. And he'll lead you out of the wilderness too. So thank you guys for watching, man. You know, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. Josh, thank
But
you for being on, brother. You know,
yeah, man.
we'll like I say, we'll have him back on, man. And till next time, you guys keep looking up to the chief shepherd. See y'all later.